Okay, I am ready to go. Look, I even have this awesome pre-qualification letter from my lender. Hey, today I'm giving you 7 buyer mistakes that buyers must not make when buying a home in Atlanta, in the metro Atlanta area in 2022. Let's do it. Okay, a pre-qualification letter, that's a great first step. But what we really want is to get you pre-approved by a lender. Okay, I got you. I also talked with a second lender and they sent me this pre-approval letter. See, right there, pre-approval. Great, a pre-approval. So that means that the lender sent you through full underwriting, correct? The full underwriting? No, full underwriting process. You did say you were pre-approved, correct? Yes, but I mean, my letter says pre-approval. It's written right there, pre-approval. Yeah, I totally get that your letter says pre-approval, but did the lender take you through full underwriting? That's where they ask you for all kinds of documents like bank statements and pay stubs and tax returns and things like that. No? Okay, let's talk about this. All right, one of the first things we're talking about is pre-qualification versus pre-approval. Now, pre-qualification is kind of where you just kind of send in some basic information to the lender and they get it and they kind of tell you and give you an idea of what you can qualify for in terms of a loan, right? Good first step. However, in this market right now that we're seeing here in Atlanta, Georgia, you know, you're gonna want to go through something called pre-approval. Pre-qualification is fine, but if you make an offer on a home and it gets accepted, then you still have a lot of hoops to jump through in terms of the lender getting everything together for your buyer to make sure they can actually close. Now, this is a little bit more risky to the seller because since there's still a lot of hoops to jump through, there's plenty of things that could go wrong with the loan or the qualification for the potential buyer. And so this isn't as attractive to a seller. Now, what's more attractive is something called pre-approval, right? Pre-approval is where you go through full underwriting. You get all of the documentations that the lender is needing to make sure that you can purchase a home, right? This takes about 2 weeks and they are going to get into all your business. They're going to want bank statements and tax returns and pay stubs and all kinds of stuff. They're probably going to ask you for the same thing, 5 different times. Just be patient with it, but go through it. However, some confusion that's happening out there is that some lenders are giving letters that say pre-approved, and they actually haven't been through underwriting. So they are kind of mixing the terms pre-qualified and pre-approval in their letters, which can be very confusing for buyers out there. So even though you receive something that says pre-approval, you might not actually have gone through full underwriting and actually be pre-approved. Right, so this is definitely something you're going to want to check with your lender and talk with your buyer's agent about to make sure that you actually are pre-approved and fully through underwriting. Being totally pre-approved will actually help you with your financing contingencies on your purchase and sales agreement. And that way, when you make an offer, it can actually be a really solid offer with very little or possibly no financing contingency as a part of your deal. So talk with your lender, talk with your buyer's agent, and get fully pre-approved. Hey Jonathan, thanks again for showing me the houses today. That one house you showed us, oh my goodness, loved it. I loved it. Right? I mean, that house did just check all the boxes that we talked about. And I mean, it's on 123 Perfect House Drive. It can't be a coincidence. So let's talk about writing up that offer. Okay, that sounds great. Let me go grab some lunch and think about it, and I'll come back in here and we'll talk. Okay, perfectly understandable. I mean, this is a big decision and we're talking about lots of money involved here. So I did talk with the listing agent. They do have multiple offers, and if we're gonna make an offer, we have to put it in by 5 p.m. today. I know that's a quick decision, but in this market, we just gotta make quick decisions. How about this? It's 10 a.m. right now. Let's talk again at 1 p.m. So I'll give you a few hours to think about it, and then we'll talk again. All right, so what would you like to do in regards to this house? Man, I still just don't know. I mean, it's such a big decision to make. Well, let me ask you this. Is there anything about this house or the area that makes you, not want to buy it or hesitate to buy it? No, it's just, I just don't like to be rushed into decisions. I totally understand. Unfortunately, what's happening in this market, you've just got to make, a quick decision. If it's a great house like this, you're more than likely going to have multiple offers and you're going to have to act fast. Okay, I understand. I just think I'm going to wait for right now. Okay, totally understand your decision, and we'll just keep looking for a house. Hey Jonathan, good to see you again. Sorry that it was last second that I just popped in here, but I wanted to come let you know I am ready to make that offer on that house we saw. Hey, what house were we talking about? 123 Perfect House Drive, of course. I mean, it was amazing, and I thought about it, and I'm ready to go. Let's do this. You mean that house that we saw 10 days ago, correct? Yeah, that one. It was perfect. Man, I'm ready to go. Let's do it. Let's talk about this. All right, you need to be ready to go in this market. Now, I'm one of those people that I love to plan, I love to take time, I love to think about things to make sure they're right. But in terms of purchasing a home right now, I mean, you need to be ready once you see a home that you like to make an offer right away. So really go through and see, what your must-haves are, what your likes, what you kind of need to have or would really like to have are, and what your things are, whether you have it or not, that's fine. In the house, and then also make sure that you, same thing with the area you're living in. But if it's something that checks a lot of the boxes or most or all of your boxes, you need to jump on that house right away. Be ready to make an offer, be ready to sign, and move forward. If you're one of those people that just needs time on everything, no matter what, even if it's perfect, this might not be the time to purchase a home right now. There are just very, very few homes out on the market that you're going to have time to really think about, take your time on, and then make a decision on. One good thing is you do have a due diligence period, most of the time. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. And this will continue to give you time to think about it, even though you're starting the process of getting inspection done and things like that. This will give you a little bit more time to go through to make sure this is the house you want. So you do have that built in, but in this market, you've got to be ready to make that offer. Hey, this is Jonathan Mccoy with Keller Williams Realty. Yeah, showed your listing today, and my buyers absolutely loved it. I just wanted to call to see if you had any other offers on the table. Yeah, you do. Yeah, that makes sense in this market. Can you tell me a little bit about your buyer and what to them would make a perfect offer, outside the sales price, of course? Okay, so they would love to close in 20 days. I think we can make that happen. Okay, and they're worried about a deal falling through, so they would need a really qualified buyer. That's great. My buyer has actually been fully underwritten, and we are ready to go. I mean, we could close really quickly if needed, and since you want to close in 20 days, it's probably going to limit some of the offers you did receive in this multiple offers situation, I would assume. Yeah, I'm going to make sure that my lender gives you a call so the lender can tell you that about the buyer and just assure you that we can close quickly. Is there anything else that's important to your seller? Okay. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. I will let you know once we have sent over our offer, and would love to work with you and your seller to make this deal happen. Okay, I appreciate it. I will talk to you soon. Thanks. All right, bye. Hey, this is Jonathan Mccoy with Keller Williams Realty, Chattahoochee North. Yeah, I'm just following up on that offer that you received from us. All right, just want to make sure you received it. Okay, you did. Great, fantastic. Can I ask you really quickly, what do you think of our offer, and do you think it will be the one that your seller accepts? Okay, so it seems like they love everything about it. It just happens to be slightly lower priced than another one you received. Is that what I'm hearing? All right. All right, what I hear you saying is that even though our offer was a little bit lower, we seem to be maybe in a better position to close on time, which sounds like is really important to your seller. Okay, let me talk with my buyer and I'll get back to you. All right, thanks so much, bye. All right, let's talk about this. All right, you've got to have an agent that is willing and able to talk to the listing agent. This is super important. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a deal done, especially in this last year of 2021, where it was such an advantage for me to actually call the listing agent as the buyer's agent and talk with them. This actually will give you a few things. One is to give you a little bit insight on that seller and what they're looking for. It's not always about sales price. So that's first, is that. The next is you want the listing agent to be comfortable with you as a buyer and the buyer's agent. Because you're gonna have lots of offers that come in multiple offer situations that are really close and similar to each other. And so which one is gonna have the advantage? Well, in my experience, the advantage comes to the agent who actually starts to have a rapport. If they don't already know the listing agent, they get to know them. All right. Another important thing is to have the lender call the listing agent as well. You want to sell the buyer as much as possible. They need to know that you're qualified, you're ready to buy. So communication is key. So make sure you have an agent that is talking to the listing agent as much as possible. Now, there are some listing agents that just seem to not want to answer the phone and do text on everything. But do your best to have a phone conversation with the listing agent. And when I say your best, make sure your agent is doing their best to have a phone conversation with the listing agent for you to have a clear picture on, how many offers are in. Even sometimes they might even tell you, what the best offer is price-wise. So the more you can get out of the listing agent, the better, and the better position you'll be to make an awesome offer and hopefully have yours accepted. Hey, this is Jonathan Mccoy with Keller Williams Realty, Chattahoochee North. Yeah, just calling about your listing. I showed it today. My buyers really like it and was just seeing if you have offers on the table already. Okay, yep, you do. Makes sense, especially in this market. Yep. I was just calling, before we send in our offer, just wanted to know what are some of the things that are important to your seller, outside of sales price, of course, that, we can do to try to make our offer the best. Okay, so the seller's looking for no financing contingency and no appraisal contingencies, okay? Oh, there's more, okay? Okay, so your seller doesn't want any due diligence or a right to inspect, period. Okay. Okay, oh, there's more. Oh, the seller wants temporary occupancy after selling for 50 days. 50 days, wow, that's a lot of time. All right, well, let me talk with my buyer and I'll get back to you, okay? Okay, thanks, great, bye. All right, let's talk about this. All right, two different things to talk about here. One is no appraisal contingency or very little appraisal contingency. In this situation, and what we're seeing right now is sellers are wanting very little or no financing and appraisal contingencies. For the appraisal, depending on the house and the qualification for you as a buyer, there are possibilities that you can actually waive the appraisal. Now, you'll need to talk to the lender about this. The next thing is sometimes people are waiving the appraisal even though they're still getting one and willing to pay over the appraised value for the home. This is doable if you have extra cash on hand. To do this, you need to kind of understand how much you're putting down for down payment, what your closing costs are, and then how much extra money you have. Because if a house doesn't appraise and you're willing to pay the difference between that appraised value and the sales price of the home, you're going to need that cash on hand to do so. What we are seeing are some special stipulations put into offers with buyers saying that they're willing to pay $10,000 over appraised value up to the sales price if it doesn't appraise, or $15,000 or $20,000. This is something you're going to have to figure out and feel comfortable with doing if you're going to want to waive the appraisal contingency. That is up to you. In terms of the financing contingency, again, if you're pre-approved, This time frame can be worked with, talk with your lender and get some strategies on maybe being able to waive that financing contingency or making it really short. Next, and kind of linked with that, is due diligence, right? There are listing agents and sellers wanting to get rid of due diligence altogether. I do not recommend that at all, right? You need the due diligence period because this is the period where you're going to get inspections done, right? You need to have an inspection on the home. Even if a home seems perfect, you don't know what's behind the walls. Your agent doesn't. You don't know if, in the basement all of a sudden, if you have an inspector come in, they find termites, they find structural damage. There's a lot of things that an inspector is going to be trained at to look for to let you know what's going on with the house. If all of a sudden you waive the due diligence and don't have this time frame to make sure you can want to buy the house and that you can get that inspection done in, then you can still get an inspection done, but if they find something, you're still on the hook for purchasing that home. So do not waive this due diligence period. The other thing is, if you have some time in the due diligence period, 5 to 10 days, somewhere in there, it's possible that the lender can get everything done in terms of the financing contingency in that 5 to 10 day window. If they can do it fast enough, you can actually put 0 days down for your financing contingency, because during the due diligence period, your lender can get everything done. So you're going to want that due diligence period for not only the inspection to make sure you still want to buy the home, but also as a possibility to be able to put 0 days for your financing contingency, because you're already pre-approved and your lender can get everything done really quickly. So due diligence, don't get rid of it, it's important. All right, next thing that you need to know to make sure you don't make this mistake is know the area. It's so important in Atlanta, in the metro Atlanta area, to know the area you're moving towards, specifically when it comes to traffic and how much time it takes to get across the city. So if you have a job in one area and you're living in a place that's an hour away, that commute time might be a pain, especially if you're having to commute every day. If you like to do certain things, like you want to go hiking in the mountains, maybe the north side of Atlanta is where you want to be to get up there quicker. If you like to do stuff in downtown Atlanta area and like that hustle and bustle, then you want to be closer in. So really get to know the area that you want to move to. The other thing is, if schools or crime or anything like that is important or a factor to you, you're going to need to look that up as a buyer to make sure you feel comfortable. As real estate agents, we actually are not allowed to really talk about crime or schools, whether they're good or bad, because of a lot of different rules. We can't push you to one area or another based on anything, based on race, religion, ethnicity, sex, any of that kind of stuff. We can't push you in any direction. So when it comes to looking up, again, crime and schools, those are two big ones. You're going to need to look that up as a buyer, all right, and understand the area that you're moving to. If shopping is important and things like that, we as agents, can tell you some of those things. But those other things you're going to need to kind of research and look up on your own. Last thing for 2022, if you're buying right now, that you need to know before getting into this is do not give up. All right, it is hard right now for buyers. All right, and it doesn't seem like it's going to change much in 2022. I think maybe midway or on the back end we'll see a little bit better for buyers in terms of inventory, but it's hard. So you're just going to have to fight through it. All right. Do all the things that I've already talked about in this video to be ready and prepared to make an offer and make your the best offer possible. Doing these things will help you not have to make 20 offers on 20 different homes. Okay, if you follow these things, then 1, 2, maybe 3 offers in, yours should be the one that gets accepted. But don't give up. All right, it is a long battle. There are some people that again will make offers on homes. A lot along the way. It might take a month, 2, 3 before you find one. There's other people that just because of low inventory, they just can't find the house that's the right one for them. And totally get that. You're putting a lot of money down, so I don't want you to purchase a home that you don't want or are going to sell in a year or two because this isn't going to be the one for you. So be patient. keep moving forward. You can find a house in this market, but it does take patience and time most of the time. I had a buyer that came in, and a week later, after starting to look, we got a house that we liked, made an offer, got under contract. So it does happen, but make sure that you're patient, make sure you get the right agent, and if you're looking for a buyer's agent in the Atlanta or Metro Atlanta area, give me a call. I'd be happy to help. And thanks, and I will see you next time.